Hi, everybody. This is day 1442. Let me make sure that everyone can hear. Get on Facebook here and see if everything is working. And then I can also read the comments and respond. On Facebook here and see if everything is working. Sounds good. Sound is good. Okay, so let's get started. So today is 1,442 days since Richard was murdered there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, an internal murder by his own on Fort Bliss. U.S. Army whistleblower, soldier, volunteered to serve his country, aspired to be a CID agent. It is really a terrible thing that a CID agent on Fort Bliss is a prime suspect in the murder of Richard. The prime suspect is Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart, whose mother was bragging that she controlled the Fort Bliss CID office there and was having a sexual relationship with her family member. There's conflicting stories on how Tavita Nusa is related to Leilani Hart, but nonetheless, she was given unauthorized access to files in that CID office. And we have a witness whistleblower that absolutely confirms and submitted a formal complaint of tampering of Richard's file and also admission of bodily harm. And, there has been tampering then with Richard's file in that case. Altogether, we have at the national level the CID admitting that Richard's CID file is tampered with. Anybody like Bob Moore of El Paso Matters that uses a CID file to determine the situation of our son's death, because Richard was officially declared murdered on Fort Bliss by the U.S. Army, and on April 24th, 2024. But the murder, of course, happened July of 2020. So we're talking 4 years, just about 4 years. And, we're getting very close to the murder date right now. So, yeah, it's the thought is it's just it's heartbreaking. It's totally heartbreaking. But Richard was officially declared deceased. We clarify that for everybody, because with the official declaration of death, that only comes with hard evidence. The Army just doesn't make those kind of declarations with hard evidence, and especially in this case. And the evidence, the forensics of it, only has one outcome, and that is that Richard was murdered there on Fort Bliss by his own, an internal murder. And it was gruesome. It was very violent. And so the cover up is very violent. Before the months leading up to the murder are violent. Richard was a whistleblower, and they um, orchestrated retaliation. And we know that because of the January 24th, is it the January 24th um, frame job that was orchestrated against Richard that didn't go anywhere, was proven to be um, false, and Richard always maintained that it was false, and he was just a hero. But even though it was false, there was abuse of power there, and this is the theme, I would say, and I probably should have named it abuse of power. Abuse of power by Major General Coward in the retaliation against Richard, and in his response to the murder of Richard. Also, abuse of power by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Roddick, who is very, very closely connected to all of this, y'all. We have not forgotten Michael Roddick. And the information coming out that's connecting him with, of course, Deborah Sarah West, which we have not forgotten. Deborah Sarah West, the pilot that was teaching Dallas Hart, the prime suspect, Richard's platoon leader, how to fly, that he abandoned. He abandoned everything that he had accomplished in those flight lessons to start anew in California. So that tells you that there was something going on there. And we're going to tell you right now there's a connection between Michael Roddick and Deborah Sarah West. Okay. There's information coming out of the abuse of power, and that abuse of power extends to the Walmart mass shooting case. Team members of the Walmart mass shooting case, and which is connected to Richard's case. How is it connected? Through Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who targeted our son's case, our son's investigation, with her roomie, I don't know if you call it a roomie, I would say shared residence, Danae Katzen, who also targeted Richard's investigation to mislead, to thwart it, to sabotage it, to delay it, to get it off track, whatever you want to call it. They were up to no good, and it connects the Walmart mass shooting because of the El Paso Community Foundation suspected fraud of distributing the volumes, the mass amount of monies that was collected through donations and through taxpayer money that was issued to the Walmart Mass Shooting Victims Fund. And Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia claim that was questioned, that she was ineligible, and yet she got masses amount of money distributed to her. And there was then Yvonne Rosales, the district attorney, that was looking into the distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims' monies that was uh, being distributed by El Paso Community Foundation and required, I think it was required that they, um, when they get the money, that they have to make this um, account in West Star Bank. So that was all, and it should still be uh, looked into. And, we know for a fact, and also today, with the massive amounts of force multipliers that is happening right now, that Richard's case is an ongoing investigation. We received confirmation again today that Richard's in case, capital murder case, is an ongoing investigation. And I think that should make a lot of people that are perpetrators tremble from, and I wish I could tell you more um, of the communication that we received today. I can tell you that we received information about some LLCs. I would say Blue Party Hall. Um, you know, in regards to Nadal Baim, the agent for the FBI that walked into the Dollar General right beside the Blue Party Hall to say, take down the flyers, because the FBI had found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico, and then demanded that that be kept silent. Demanded silence. And that, what right does he have? You see, this is the thing. What right does Nadal Baim have to order the cashier after he is the one that gave her this information that the missing soldier, the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier, that everybody was curious what happened to him, and concerned what happened to the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. Was this another Vanessa Guillen case? Absolutely it was, right? Absolutely it was. And the cashier, why should she keep quiet? Why should she be, silenced? This is an abuse of power by the agent of the FBI, Nadal Baim. And so this is why we have an ongoing investigation into Richard's case, because there's so many questions yet that are being answered, and also more and more new information coming out. Uh, like for example, one of those things is everything behind the Blue Party Hall LLC. What's going on there? And it's the information that is coming to us is very, very interesting, because it's kitty corner from other information that we're getting from other businesses. And so this is all coming together because that involves Richard's rifle and very suspects in the murder of Richard. So yeah, this is very, very serious business, and it shows the abuse of power in the CID office. And of course, a good example is even in the Walmart mass shooting case and the people involved in that, there is an abuse of power. And this is something that we've been uh, studying about Amanda Enrique and her recorded conversation with Joe Spencer and feeling intimidated, feeling like, he had power over her to stop her from running for district attorney. In my understanding of this article, and what gives him the right to intimidate, right? Um, you know, these people, Joe Spencer, who is absolutely the defense attorney for Patrick Crusius, um, and I feel so bad for Patrick Crusius because he you, you can say okay, he's been convicted of this mass murder, and he can't even go. So I shouldn't have said I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry that he can't be punished because he's supposed to be at the Alcatraz of the Rockies right now. That's where he is supposed to be. That's where the federal sentencing send him or is sending him. And yet, with the lawyers like Joe Spencer, who is making this go on and on and on without anything happening, I think the message is I feel sorry for El Pasoans that they can't get justice in El Paso because the criminal justice system is broken. I think that's the best way to explain our emotions and all of this. And thank you so much for letting us, hash it out right here on a live stream. But the abuse of power by Joe Spencer with Amanda Enrique caught on record, right? Caught on record, is very, very helpful because we have so many abuse of powers in Richard's case. And it just, it proves that point. I think that is very important to understand how Tavita Nusa, Leilani Hart, Joe Spencer, Bob Moore, they abuse power. This whole thing with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, not contacting us, using our son's image, which is ours, putting out a false story, which is a disgrace, and really more violence done to Richard in his memory, trying to get the public to think that the story is one way when in fact it is a capital murder case, without even reaching out to us who have the whole story, and the hard evidence of the whistleblowing, the suspects being convicted criminals, the retaliation that we have suffered that absolutely declare this a cover-up. There's no other explanation about it. The evidence of the child trafficking, um, those involved in it. You know, the canine, the canine from Borstar that had a positive hit. Um, and thank you so much for that information to the individual that gave that to us. We're very grateful because that really put together a lot of puzzle pieces about the change of status in Richard, what caused it. You know, November 20th, 2020. We'll never forget it. That, you know, they absolutely withheld that important information from us and just told us that the canine had to go pee pee and poo poo, and therefore the scent was thrown off and they couldn't go anymore. In fact, they had a positive hit. And what is the proof for that is this sudden change in status of Richard. No longer AWOL, no longer deserter, right? Officially the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. Vanessa Guillen was brutally murdered, chopped up, her remains burnt, charred, um, put in a foxhole, covered with lime, covered with concrete, um, missing, and finding her um, remains in that kind of condition the same month that Richard was brutally murdered. And Richard is then the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. And that change of status came in concert with the canine positive hit. I think that's very important for everyone to know that. And then with the new information coming out about the LLCs, and we know through Dallas Hart that he was concerned about his father with a lot of LLCs and all of this. Well, you know, that because that leaves a trail, right? That leaves a paper trail that is documented. Thank God in this country, all of that has to be documented. And a lot went on from since 2020 or since these LLCs were created. A lot went on. And you know, they tell each of the records tells a story. And you know, we've been so misled too about Richard's car, about Richard's rifle, about the canine, of course, and many other things, Richard's phone. And, you know, we're getting to the truth. This is the truth train. And that's why I named it the truth train, because they can't hold back the truth. They cannot derail this train. They just cannot. It's just too powerful, and it is just absolutely connected to the rails where it just can't be derailed. And it moves forward, and you do not want to be in front of this train, right? You do not want to be on the rails in front of the train. And you have a group, a breakaway group from the original response team that have perpetrated this, orchestrated this, and it goes beyond. And we're getting very, very good information now about how it goes beyond. Um, and so I'm just saying, you know, don't live in fear. Come forward if you have been taken advantage of and no information, especially with these LLCs. So, if you know about uh, the purchase of Richard's weapon, if you know about his phone, if you know about the Blue Party Hall, um, if you know about the missing vehicles, if you know about Richard's missing remains, if you know about the weapon, um, it's the missing evidence. There's some, if you know, yes, then I think it's time. Well, I know it's time. You know, you don't want to be in front of the truth train. You want to be on the truth train. That's the place to be. And you don't want to be rubbing shoulders with those that abuse power, like Joe Spencer. He, that's all coming out, y'all. Uh, Joe Spencer has fell off of his high horse, and uh, all of that is coming out. And you know, Bob Moore has been totally discredited, and I think that Joe Spencer's has been. I think it's very close that he's also been totally discredited, especially with this recording now from Amanda Enrique of intimidation and threats, right? Intimidation. Um, so, you know, and we of course have other information um, that corroborates all of this. And these are the stories that really need to be out there in the news. And so, if you are a news reporter, please contact us. We, yeah, there's going to be a lot happening in the next week. And so, I think you need to be on the truth train instead of, you know, uh, in the path of the train. You don't want to be in the path of the train. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on again. Um, the purchase of Richard's weapon is a big deal, the rifle. And that came out just because of some other problems that were happening with this rogue group of suspects that were part of the original response team for Richard's case. And voila, because we had to respond to what had been done, then another crime that had been done, and we had to put in another complaint about the crime that had been done. We looked into Richard's rifle more, and we found some things. And thanks to Team Fund Richard Halliday for absolutely revealing some things with yeah, it's you just want to come forward. You don't want to be part of these LLCs that that when you know something and you don't come out and speak out, and then you just get caught. You don't want to just get caught. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. And I know everyone's recovering from 4th of July, all the family and um, the celebration. I mean, at least we are. We had a lot of family, and it was just loads of fun. And that's what it's absolutely all about, is to celebrate our freedom of speech, to not be intimidated by these people that think they have some kind of false right to silence, intimidate, like Joe Spencer, like Bob Moore, to put out false narratives, um, and not be held accountable. And so we absolutely need to hold this kind of false reporting and the intimidation and retaliation accountable. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.